I don't know what party games people play today, but when I was very young, one of the party games I loved, and it was done usually at Christmas or on birthdays, was Pass the Parcel. It's a classic party game in which a parcel is passed from one person to another, and each time the music stops, you take the parcel and you unwrapped one layer and you found a little present, a gift. And what you did was that when the music begins, you pass on the parcel. Each layer had a different design, and smaller prizes or mottos may be placed between so that eventually there is that grand prize. The people controlling the music, they do it in a way to make sure that every kid will eventually get the parcel on his lap, will eventually get a gift. That stopping and starting of the music that we little kids thought was just arbitrary was actually nicely choreographed by the host. The aim was that everyone was to receive a little gift. And perhaps the birthday girl or birthday boy would receive the biggest gift. I found it a lot more fun than Lucky Dip. And this was a time where forfeits were not there. That was us trying to put forfeits in there. But in the actual game, everyone received a gift. Actually, I've come to see Pass the Parcel as a metaphor of life. After all, someone passed on this life to us, didn't they? We speak a language that was passed on to us by our parents. We live in land that was handed on to us, or a house. We celebrate a faith that was also handed on, if not by our parents or sponsors, by the apostles. For the faith comes to us because it was handed on. Jesus says to the disciples, freely you have received this gift, this relationship, this salvation, and freely you must pass it on. It is incumbent for every Christian, every disciple, to hand on this gift. And we must show by our attitude that our first interest is God and not our own material gain, not any egoistic needs or wants, but totally, providentially dependent on God because we are bringing God to others. We must serve without guile, full of charity and peace. We must travel light, only take what is essential, and leave behind whatever would distract us, would distract from this parcel, this gift. So much of what we are has come to us as gift. The question then is, what is the parcel that we are passing on? Is it really one of gifts, or are there forfeits in there? Do we pass on cynicism, bitterness, anger, gossip, sin, bad habits, so that when the person receives the parcel and unwraps it, what we are passing on is not a gift, but a forfeit to him experiencing the fullness of life with Christ? Are we traveling with heaviness of heart, carrying grudges? Travel light. No haversacks, no extra tunics. And shake the dust from your feet. Don't hold on to bad experiences. Don't think that you or I need to take revenge. That is for the Lord. I suppose in that way, this passing on the parcel, passing on the gratitude, passing on the gift, is seen in the story of Joseph in our first reading. The story of Joseph amazingly contains the invitation to make a choice, to see that in the bigger events of history, politics, agricultural developments, farming, food distributions, this invitation to pass on the good that we receive, to pass it on to someone who doesn't have. The challenge and invitation is also in the intimate personal reactions shown in the dynamics of Joseph and his brothers. It's amazing how all of these situations, and you know the story of Joseph, how he eventually says in that one simple theological explanation that God sent him ahead to Egypt, ahead of his brothers, so that through him he would be able to pass on the goodness to his brothers, the grain, the food that they need, but more, the forgiveness. And as he passed that on, the family was reconciled. So pass the parcel and remove the forfeits. Then we truly will enjoy this life of passing on the goodness that we receive.